Hello and welcome to today's special web class, Insider Media Hacks to get on Forbes, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur, HuffPost, BuzzFeed, Fox, and many others. I'll be your host and teacher today. This is Jeremiah Demray, award-winning insurance marketer, ranked one of the top 40 marketers under 40. And I want to say a special thank you to the InsuranceWebx team, as well as the folks, Brian Mann and the team over at Elite Advisory Group, for sponsoring this event. If you came to this call today to learn some insider strategies on how to get on the media, congratulations, you're definitely on the right call. Now, just out of curiosity, I'd like to ask the audience here so we can build some interaction. Have you ever been on the media before? And that could mean you were on television, a magazine, even if it was a niche publication. Go ahead and in the question box, if you could put a yes or a no. And by the way, when I ask for your engagement today, it's not for my benefit. It's not going to make any difference to me whether you put a yes or a no in the chat box. But it's been proven in several Ivy League studies that the more you interact in any training, the more you're going to retain at both a conscious and a subconscious level. And the only way we can really engage today on our class is through the chat box. So by you putting a yes or no, you're engaging, you're interacting with your brain. And we're going to get so much more out of today's training, which is why I highly encourage you to interact. Also, don't be afraid to put a no, or you have a question or you disagree with something in the chat box. I'm not going to call anybody out or embarrass anybody today. The point is for you to be interacting and keeping your brain at a peak learning state. Okay, great. So I'm seeing some good questions in here. Most people, looks like, have not been on the media. And I'm curious, a couple of you, Paul and Katie, you guys have already been on the media. What kind of media have you already been on? So I'd like to tailor the class today, maybe give some tips to get more out of the media you've already gotten. Or for those of you that said no, how to actually start getting the media to notice you. Now, let me tell you why today's class will be different. This is not going to be traditional PR as maybe your grandfather might know it. This is not about long-winded pitch cycles and inflated monthly retainers that most PR firms use. It's business media. And we're going to focus on business media today because it earns more respect than traditional celebrities. In fact, there was a study done by Adweek not too long ago which talked about how today almost 80% of people would rather be associated with a business celebrity than with a, let's say, media celebrity. So think, would you rather be associated with a Bachelor star, right? Or maybe somebody from Dancing with the Stars, or would you rather be associated with Shark Tank or The Prophet? Most people would probably say option 2. Also, traditional PR processes have no guarantees. Typically, you're going to pay an inflated monthly fee. You're going to hope for the best and hope they're going to get you on at least one outlet. Now, this process is guaranteed to work if you do it in the order and the process that we do it. And these long monthly retainers is actually why I created this program and why our company provides this service, because I'm somebody that, just like you, was looking to get PR, but drastically overpaid. I just want to let you know too, at the end of this class today, if you're interested in having some of us or myself actually do this for you, there's going to be a special offer at the end. But we're going to teach you some things today that you'll be able to implement right away on your own without paying a single dime to anybody, that you can start implementing immediately. If you have any questions as well, please go ahead and as they come up, put them in the question box. I'll be happy to address them towards the end. We've got a lot of information to cover. Now, maybe you might be wondering, why am I qualified to share this with you today? Well, probably just like you, I'm just an ordinary guy who got burnt really bad in the PR space. I was working at a small startup in Chicago, and my role was to generate leads and basically make it rain for the company. We had almost no budget, but we needed a lot of exposure. We needed to make sales. And I thought, you know what, PR might be a great way to go. I had no idea what I was doing. I don't have a father, or a grandfather or an uncle or even a remote family member that has any experience in this area. And I was 22, fresh to the city, and really didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a PR wizard. I don't have all the contacts. I'm just somebody who figured out how to make this work and be predictable about it over and over again. Now, back to that story of me in Chicago. When I was working for this firm, I ended up, through some act of stupidity, buying an insertion order for $10,000 in a magazine that would position my CEO as, a business thought leader. And I thought I had done something wonderful. I was high-fiving myself, and I had frankly been wined and dined into signing the deal. The guy had actually just brought me out for pizza, and because I was so young, I thought, wow, this is amazing. Somebody's buying me pizza. I mean, you bought me a meal at that time in my life. I mean, I was your best friend forever. So he took me out and wined and dined me into signing this contract. And then my CEO was absolutely livid. So I had to take everything I had in my bank account and buy gifts for the ad reps and the ad managers who had sold me this, profusely apologizing that we had canceled the account and so on and so forth. Needless to say, I learned from that experience, but not too much. A couple years later, we had more money, and so we hired an expensive PR firm that was charging us $10,000 a month. That was to help us get on some major media. Well, they spent the first 6 months giving us media training and building a press kit that frankly didn't get anywhere. In the last 6 months, apologizing for not getting us on any type of media while we contacted them over and over trying to get some traction. And the best they were able to do is get us in some online blogs and a couple of online magazines, but nothing like Fox News or CBS or anything like that I'm going to show you today. So I got burnt pretty bad, hopefully not to the extent anybody on this line. But I took away some powerful lessons on how not to do PR. And what I did is I went out and I did incredible research. I talked to so many producers and reporters and just tried to find out what is the code that I'm not understanding? What do I have to crack in order to be able to get myself on the media once and then hopefully do it again and again. I kind of told you this story, and I spent all in all, I spent about $500,000 on PR, never gotten on a single show. I'm probably one of the most trustworthy guys you'll meet. I'm kind of a guy who'll trust you if I think you're ethical and honest and straightforward. But I should have really stopped at 5,000 instead of going all the way to $500,000. But shame on me. I learned, which is why I'm never going to do that again. But then I discovered this incredible hack. And when I discovered this hack, I was able to get on Fox News within about 7 business days, a Fox News affiliate. And the hack was so successful that I used it in order to get even more exposure, which got the attention of some producers of a TED event, which I was invited to speak on the democratization of marketing, which for all of you fellow TED fans out there was just almost like a dream moment in my career. I have such a high respect for the people at TED, and it was just such an honor to be a part of that incredible group. Not too long ago, I was invited to speak with a $20,000 speaking fee at a conference of the top advisors in the entire country held in Chicago. That's a little picture there, and that's me in the front for this event. So what was amazing is by just figuring out this hack, so many other doors and opportunities were opened up to me because I was now seen on the media. Now, I'd like to get your feedback on this in the question box. Here's what I've seen are the symptoms of not using media. And I've had the privilege of working with over 100,000 financial advisors, life insurance agents, group benefit people, retirement planners, AUM guys and gals, health and life, Medicare, SUP agents, and in over 51 countries. And here's what I've seen. Brokers and advisors who don't have some type of preeminent media authority are often overlooked by potential clients that you could really serve. Go ahead in the question box and tell me if that sounds like you. Okay, getting a lot of yeses. You look the same as other advisors. Do you find that to be happening to you? Okay, once again, lots of yeses. Lower referrals, maybe you're just not getting referred as much. How about this one? Here's a big one. Not enough leads. Does that look familiar? Okay, yeah. How about an empty calendar? Thomas is saying referrals have dropped. Darius is saying, yep, this is all too familiar. How about spending more than you should on seminars or traffic, meaning buying people meals or paying for your FMO to send out flyers or buying more traffic to try to get to your funnel? Yeah, okay. So these are all kind of some common problems, right? Your current marketing methods aren't converting as high, and you're not able to meet your KPIs moving to move your business forward. Okay, once again, lots of yeses. Thank you so much, by the way. You guys are interacting at a really high level. I really appreciate it. It's motivating me to do even more for you today. So that's really the symptoms of not using the media. But here's what our clients tell us. They're experiencing a higher performance on marketing. One client, for example, after getting themselves on the media using our service, they had a 128% increase in seminar attendees just by using these branded logos, which are at the bottom of the screen. Prospects arrive pre-sold to appointments. It's almost like you have the credibility and you don't need to brag about yourself. Financial planning clients stop shopping around and they close faster. Had one advisor out of San Diego, an individual advisor, and he noticed that when he met with people now, they've stopped saying, okay, well, we're going to talk to a couple of other advisors. Since he's the guy that's been quoted on Fox News, everyone just trusts him. They're also treated like a celebrity when they get invited to social events. They're saying, you know, this is my advisor, he was on Forbes, or this is my advisor, he was in the New York Times. And we've reportedly seen over 411% increases in social media traffic, and I'll show you some examples in a little bit. One of our clients had a 312% increase in inbound connection requests on LinkedIn just by adding the media citations to his headshot. So are these some of the results that you'd like to experience? Okay, lots of yeses. Well, in that case, let's get started. You know, you probably agree with me that most advisors today suffer from what I call an identity crisis, where we all kind of look the same, right? We might have fancy ways to say what we do, but pretty much we all sell the same products and services. It was interesting because Pershing Institute did a study recently that interviewed the top investors and asked them, what do you want from an advisor? And they asked for three things. They want an advisor that tailors solutions, works in their best interests, and are experienced. Well, the good news is when they looked at the websites that advisors had, they actually are highlighting those value propositions. But here's the really bad problem. 60% of investors have difficulty distinguishing between advisors at all. Man, that's incredible, right? That means half of the people that you're going after, more than half, can't even tell you apart from anybody else. Now, how can you really build a market presence if you look like everybody else? It's incredibly difficult and probably what attracted you to today's class. Now, let me kind of break open the kimono for a second and actually share with you how PR firms bill. Because I went through this, it was a really painful process, and I really disagree with the way traditional PR operates because it is one of the least accountable businesses on the planet. It's basically give me your money, trust that I'm going to do this, and if I don't, well then rebill with me next year and we'll try even harder. That's basically how traditional PR firms work. And so you go through your strategic plan, and then you're going to go through 1 or 2 months of meetings with key messaging and positioning points. They're going to draft materials like backgrounders, white papers, and releases, and they're going to send them back to you to review as if you know anything, right? As if we know exactly what should be said. Then they're going to do executive training programs where they're going to sit down with you and your advisors and anyone else you work with and teach you how to present in front of the camera if and when that time ever comes. Now, by the way, during this phase, notice they're not even reaching out to the media. And by this time, about 3 months has passed. Then they're going to do analyst briefings, identify them, visit with them, try to get feedback. Again, not pitching, just getting feedback. They're going to refine your message, see what competitors are doing, identify targets, and then maybe do some press tours. Now, all of a sudden, in step number 6, they're going to start doing something for you, and then public launch and so on and so forth. I mean, I don't know about you, but you're probably not a business that can wait 6 months for results. I know I never was. And then, by doing all those things, somehow, some way, you're going to get listed on all these major business outlets, right? Well, that's how traditional PR works. 6 to 12 month life cycle, no guarantees. 80% of the work is creating your content, writing the press kits, taking fancy headshots, recording demo videos, which in and of themselves can cost $10,000. Because most of these people don't have relationships in place. And that's the key identifier here. They don't have the key media relationships for you, so they have to go out and study and learn from you and from your competitors in order to make the pitch. And all of this can run anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 monthly. Now that's traditional PR. Now here's the difference with X Factor PR. It's almost as if we take all those elements and we guarantee you'll get on there within 30 to 90 days. How can we do that? Well, that's because we already have the relationships. We already know how to get on the digital outlets. We already know how to get on the television shows because we have the relationships. So we can guarantee performance. And as far as I know, ours is the only firm that can guarantee those results on a performance basis. We tell you where we can get you on, and we're going to give it our best shot. If it doesn't work, you don't pay a dime. Anywhere from $300 to $2,000 monthly. Now, here's what happens when you cross the line of getting media access. Now, just by a show of participation here, please tell me in the question box, how many years of experience do you have selling what you sell? Whether it's life insurance, retirement planning, financial planning. Go ahead in the question box, tell me right now. Is it 10, 20, 30? Okay. Yep, we got Diane here, 32 years. That's impressive. Darius, 8 years. Thomas, 29. Paul, 40. Rob, 20. Barry Page. Okay, really the lowest here is 8 years of experience, which is more than enough to make you an expert in this space. And we've got some people down 20 and 30 years of experience. Well, here's the thing. We all hope that in our careers, as we go through the timeline down here, I'll use the little pointer here so it's a little easier. As you go through the timeline over here of time, we hope that our credibility is going to grow with it, right? So we might use words like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for 30 years. And we hope that by doing that, our credibility gauge is going to rise. Now, which is why many of us invest in designations, right? We figure, well, if I get more designations, people will give me more credibility. And it's true, it does. We might also win some awards, top broker of the year, top 40 under 40. We might get listed in one of the niche magazines. But I'll tell you, despite all of that, despite working so hard in so many years, wouldn't you agree with me that once you cross the line where you're a cited authority on places like CBS, CNBC, Smart Money, Fortune, CNN, ABC, that you jump from credible to super credible? Absolutely. Why is that? Well, these companies are almost psychological vetting mechanisms, meaning that we say to ourselves, if this person has passed the test to be on these outlets, I can trust them. Perhaps you felt the same way when I shared my background that, I was ranked one of the top 40 marketers in the country and I was speaking on the TED stage. Perhaps you said, okay, well, if those people did that, then he probably has something valuable to share. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But I would venture to say, and my test results have shown, that when you are in this level, you skyrocket past your competitors. In fact, we have clients who have been in the business less than 5 years, and we get them on the media, and they are outpacing, outrunning, outgunning people who have been in the business 5 to 6 times longer than they have. It is unfair, I understand, but it is the unfair advantage that most advisors today do not take advantage of. Good part for you is you're here today to learn them. Let me give you insider hack number 2. So how do you get this, number 1? I'm jumping ahead of myself here. I'm so thrilled. So let me give you insider hack number 1. What you want to do is become a thought leader on your own platform first, okay? Which means that if you want the media to become one that pays attention to what you do, you have to become a thought leader, meaning you can't sit in your desk and not share the valuable nuggets of wisdom that you all have in your minds right now. you must be willing to share. And to do that, you must be willing to share content in some kind of approved way. It really, excuse me, it really helps if you love to write. Now, I don't know how many natural born writers are on the line here, but most people don't. Well, another way to do this is to record videos, helpful videos like what is an annuity, what is a examination period, how does a retirement plan work, what are the risks with Social Security, so on and so forth. Whatever it is that you specialize in, you want to start contributing thoughtful, opinionated content because the media loves that. And you should be willing to write often. 100 plus blog posts is probably a good goal to set for the next 12 months, writing about, 8 to 10 blog posts a month, or maybe 2 a week, so that you can start being seen as a thought leader and an authority. You should also read a lot of posts on Forbes.com, Inc. magazine, or Entrepreneur. These are great places. If you want to get listed on those websites, look at those posts and see what kind of articles are trending high. And then you can take their headlines and reverse engineer them to what they're doing. Like, for example, I did this week, by the way. Some of you may or may not be on my email list. Well, I sent out an email yesterday that said, one super simple video hack you probably didn't know. Now, I'd love to say that I came up with that great headline, but I actually took it from an article that was getting huge engagement on the Huffington Post, which was called One Super Simple Email Hack You Probably Didn't Know. And you know what? It got awesome open rates. People loved it. So again, you don't have to be the one who creates all the headlines. You can find headlines that work, and you could do, like, how would we change that for you? Well, we might say one super simple strategy to save more money for retirement. So by reading these posts, you're going to learn a lot. And then what you may want to do is find out who's on Forbes, excuse me, Inc. or Entrepreneur is writing about finance or insurance or business. And then reach out to them and collaborate, not to pitch them, but develop relationships. You could say Maggie Smith is a writer on Forbes. Maggie, I really liked your article on personal finance you wrote. I've done a lot of research on this myself, and I found this to be a really great resource. And then you could share a resource with them, or maybe you've got a retirement table you can share with them, and so forth. Offer to help with writing. Say, do you have any articles you're working on in the future that I might be able to help you out on? I'd be happy to take a stab at writing some content for you, which actually creates a lot of stress relief for the writers. So that's a really good hack to use. Now, just keep in mind, for example, on the Inc. site, there's 1,500 contributors, but for every one, 50 have tried and failed. So let me give you a really great insider hack. The best way to become a regular contributor is to get an introduction from the editor to the editor from one of the contributors. So you can tell the editor something like this, for example. Now, by the way, only do this after you've tried to help the contributor. Don't approach a contributor and just say, hey, I want to talk to the editor. Can you make an introduction? I mean, it's obviously very self-serving. You could tell the editor, this is some of my writing I think best represents what I can produce for Inc. magazine. And then you can, or Forbes or Fortune, then link directly to 3 or 4 of your most compelling pieces. Now, let me give you a little bonus tip. Don't just put a URL. Put the title of the article in your email and the link to the title. There's nothing compelling about a link, but if one of your titles catches the editor's attention, it can make them click and get excited about your copy. Okay? So that's insider hack number 1. Let's jump to one that is fairly easy and takes a little bit of discipline on a daily basis, but man, can you get some incredible traction on this. It's using Help a Reporter Out. Help a Reporter Out was started by a guy who had some friends who were reporters and started a newsletter list and said to them, hey, look, when you got a story and you're looking for somebody who's an expert in that area, send it to me and I'm going to send it out to my email list. And if anybody follows up, you'll be directly in touch with the people who have the expertise. Well, now this email list is massive. The top reporters in the industry, yes, from publications like Forbes and Fortune and Kiplinger's and Personal Finance and Money Magazine and all the places you want to be, even many television shows, subscribe to Haro. And what they do is they pay, or sometimes it's free, to put out there a request for someone to give them feedback or give an insight or be interviewed. And you can sign up for free. You just go to helpareporterout.com, and they usually will send 1 or 2 emails a day. Now, it can get a little overwhelming because, you already got 150 emails a day. I know. But if you just put a little alert or maybe create a small folder and check it 5 minutes every afternoon, you'll be able to see what reporters are looking for and quickly respond. Let me just give you some examples here. So I just took a screenshot from one of my recent Haro emails, and I found 4 places where I know you could comment. Number 11, retirement advisors. How can children with earnings save for retirement? How many of you would be able to comment on that? Put a yes in the question box if you could comment on that. Yeah, easy, right? Thomas goes easy. Yeah, really good. Okay, how about needed strategies for paying off your home in 5 to 7 years? Great. How about what happens to student loan debt when you die? Or what about this one? Seeking executives for radio show. Well, you're an executive, right? You're an executive of your own business. How would you like to be on a radio show and talk about your take on business growth in 2016? And by the way, I looked a little closer at one of these. Here's how easy it would be to participate in this one. Now, this is for fiduciarynews.com, which, it's not Forbes, but man, that's a great website to get a link back from. You get a link back from a website like that. That is amazing for your search engine rankings. So here's what they're asking. What are the types of jobs children under the age of 5 can earn income for? What is the typical earnings range? What are the types of jobs children between ages 6 and 12 can earn income for? I mean, most people can talk about this. Here's another one. Do you know of any children who have placed their earnings in an IRA or retirement vehicle? If so, what kind of retirement vehicles have they used? And then state your name, title, firm, and location as you'd like them to appear in the article. It's almost like they're saying, hey, write this to us in decent enough English, and we're almost guaranteed to publish it. I mean, sometimes you're literally going to see it like that. So that is a really great hack that you can use. Now, let me give you Insider X Factor hack number 3, and this is going to be the 3rd hack. If you're trying to get on television, which we do for our clients, let me give you the best time to call. You might think the best time to call is maybe sometime mid-morning, right? Maybe in the afternoon while the TV show's not on? Wrong. TV producers are notoriously hard to reach, and they're in the studio really early, sometimes 3 or 4 in the morning, to get ready for the 6 o'clock news. So if you're trying to reach them, the best time to call a producer is 4 to 4:30 local time. So wherever you are in the country, if you're trying to get on that local show, you want to make your calls between 4 and 4:30 in the morning. But you might be saying, Jeremiah, yeah, that's great, but where do I even find that? Well, wouldn't you know, they're always on their website. They have to be available to the public. So for example, I took this off of Chicago Fox Channel 32. I just went to their website. I clicked on About Us, go to Contact Us, and right there is the link to their main line and directly to their newsroom. See, most of us think it's really hard to reach these people, but it isn't. It's right there. You just have to know the right time and, of course, the right way to pitch and approach. Let me know if you like that little hack in the question box. Okay, awesome. A lot of cool feedback. You guys are really liking this. Okay, excellent. So that is hack number 3 and how to get the TV media. So let me give you some. So for those of you, I've noticed some of you in the question box have said that you've written several books. Thomas is saying, I can even volunteer at the station. Yes, so that's great. So yeah, some of you have written books. Some of you have massive years of experience. Some of you have been on the media. So if you have, let me give you some ways, or if you plan on doing it, let me give you some effective ways to supercharge your marketing based on what I've seen. Because not only does our firm do this for advisors, we've helped over 300 advisors get on the media, but we provide training on how do you use it after. So getting on the TV show, getting in the article, that's great. But frankly, I'm going to tell you, that's not going to bring in a ton of business. What brings in the business is by using those logos and the media effectively after you've been on. And I'm going to give you some really great examples, so be sure you're taking some notes. Now imagine you had a website like this. Imagine this is a 35-year-old financial planner. She looks fairly trustworthy and kind of looks like everybody else. But what happens to her credibility when I change her website and I add authority symbols like this? Yeah, you got it right. Massive credibility, right? A lot of us would be more willing to trust her because she's now been cited on New York Times, Yahoo, Business Insider, Wall Street Journal, and so forth. Now that goes down to a deep psychological process, or actually it's a neuro process that happens where our minds, when we process that information, we've seen these logos before, and we go into our memory, goes into the cerebral cortex, it goes passes through to the visual cortex. Then we ask ourselves, have we seen these before, and do we trust them? And if the brain fires back and says, yeah, absolutely, I've seen those a million times, that's trustworthy, we then establish trust or associate trust to that person. But let me ask you this. Now, these are some logos of some really great associations in the industry. When somebody sees this logo on your business card, do you think that it builds instant authority and credibility for you? And just give me an honest answer. These are fine organizations, by the way, but again, we're trying to get into the neuroscience of why people do this. Yeah, that's right. People, you guys were saying no idea, probably not, no, public doesn't care about them. Hard to gauge, says Barry. Scares them away, says Diane. Possibly, right? So, while these are good for among ourselves, they're not really effective for the consumer because the consumer goes through the same process. They look at this, they say, okay, this is gonna go into my neurons, pass through my visual cortex. Do I know these logos? And if no, then there's little trust. So it really doesn't make a difference. But what if you were going to show these logos on your business card, just one of them? Do you think that that would influence the prospect to trust you more? What do you think? Okay, obviously so, right? That's because these brands have spent billions of dollars marketing themselves. And so by getting on them, we basically leverage that incredible traffic and we can use it to our ethical advantage. Now, let me ask you this. If I showed you a picture of this advisor, would you say he's worth $500 an hour? Yeah, most people would say no, right? But what if I showed you this one? Here's an advisor. Oh, by the way, as seen on CBS, Inc., Fox, and Forbes. Is he worth $500 an hour? Yeah, practically everybody says yes. What about a business card? Imagine you're the owner of this business card or somebody comes up to you, hands you this business card and says, hi, I'm with Einstein Insurance and Investments. Right? No real pop. But what if they say, hi, I'm with Einstein Insurance and Investments, and they have these authority symbols on there? Much more powerful. One of my clients is one of the rarest forms of investment advisor. She's one of the 200 people in the country who knows how to do what she does. She's out of California, super brilliant, MBA. Yet, even though she does and only works with people who have at least $1 million of assets or over, even though she does that, she got her business cards done with these after we got her on CNN and Fox and so forth, because it screams credibility to be able to slide that card across the table and say, you should do business with me. What about brochures? By the way, if you're looking for a really professional place to get your brochures done, this website, stocklayouts.com, you can basically buy this template for $99 in Word, download it and change the writing, and you've got a beautiful looking brochure for $100. Stocklayouts.com. Now, even if you had a beautiful brochure like this, well, look what happens when you add your media citations to it. Much more credible. Another great place you can use this is on LinkedIn. By the way, I am on LinkedIn, so if you can figure out how to spell my last name, you deserve to be connected. So you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm an open networker and I love to connect with folks. So you notice how that builds credibility. Also, when people hover over their quick email messages there to see who wrote to them, anybody that has logos or even just one logo instantly stands out. For example, here, if you look at a breakdown let's say a LinkedIn search result of insurance agents in Chicago, who might be the person you would probably click on the first? Would it be Steve, Nancy, Brian, or Tamara? Okay, most people are saying Steve, and I understand why, professional headshot and so forth. But what about now? Take a closer look at Tamara's headshot. Do you notice that even though she doesn't have a professional headshot, you still are curious as to how she got that? And you might be more likely to click on it. Or what about slides? Do any of you do seminar marketing? Right? You get up in front of a room, talk to people. What if you took even the worst looking slide deck like this one and you added authority symbols? What does that do for credibility? Or let's say you have a landing page online. Instead of doing something like this, what happens when you add that? Do you notice the difference that happens? It's almost like an instant button that screams credibility that you cannot turn off, that goes on in your brain. Because our brain has already made the decision to trust that person. And the beautiful thing is, once you have major media, you've created a place for future media to trust you more easily, which is why so many experts are using it now on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on their pages. A couple of cool case studies. I shared with you my case study. We have a client who's one of the Real Housewives. I'm not going to tell you what city, but although she's on the Bravo network, she doesn't use that. She uses our service to get that credibility. We have a client who played for the New York Giants in the NFL. And even though he's a financial advisor now, he uses our service to get him that needed credibility. Somebody also used this same approach and then got invited to speak for Tony Robbins and got a best-selling book deal with Jack Canfield. Another one invested in this and was just a previous consultant and then got invited to be a keynote speaker. An author used the same approach and doubled the sales of books after using the authority symbols for just 8 days. Terry is actually one of the clients that we work with, this gentleman that I showed you his picture before. And he invested in the service because he feels that the perception of being an expert is hard to attain. And this service helps him to get that. Corey uploaded his to his LinkedIn profile. And since then, he's had 4 times greater traffic on LinkedIn. Bob Taylor used it on Facebook and got engagement to go up 500% just by adding the authority symbols. Well, you can smile because we come to the end of the teaching part of the presentation, and I hope that I've served you and given you enough evidence and proof that this is something you should definitely go out and do, whether you use hack number 1, which is becoming a thought leader in your space and approaching contributors at various magazines. Hack number 2, which is signing up to Haro and checking it 5 to 10 minutes a day. Or hack number 3, calling producers up and their local area. Now, for those of you that are interested in learning about how this can be done for you so you don't have to do any of the work, in fact, at the most of the work would end up being an hour where somebody would interview you, then stick around because I'm going to share with you how our firm works. If you're serious about building instant authority and you'd like to have Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, CBS, Fox, NBC, and ABC as brands in your marketing, and you want to quantum leap past your competition and credibility in less than 30 days without doing any of the work yourself, then your next step is to be one of the first 7 to have a media strategy session with us. And I'm putting the link at the bottom of the page there, and I'm going to explain what goes on there. But if you're kind of aggressive and you want to go for it, it's bit.ly/AGA media session deposit. I'm going to explain how that works in just a minute. But if you want to be one of the first 7 to get that place, you go to bit.ly/AGA media session deposit. And I'll leave that on the bottom of the screen there as I explain it. Just a couple of heads up before I continue. We only work with a limited number of contributors and journalists. So we can't show up to the door with 100 advisors all wanting to be quoted. And that's why this program is not a traffic strategy, it's a conversion strategy, which means that This is not about getting on the media and then getting 50 phone calls. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen though is we're going to teach you once you get on the media is how to use it so you convert more people into prospects and then high paying clients. It's also significantly lower than any print or digital media buys you could make on any one of these networks. Our base rates start at $5.97, and we do have flat rates and monthly ongoing programs if you want to be assured that you get on the media on an ongoing basis. You may not always get to see the quote prior to publishing, depending on what resource we end up targeting for you. Sometimes you can see the quote, sometimes you can't. So if you're kind of a perfection freak and you like to manage all that stuff, this is not for you. Well, actually, 3 of our programs would be for you, but Forbes probably wouldn't. Also, your website must not be spammy, which means have phishing in it where you're looking for people's personal information related to hate crimes or really any other topic your mother wouldn't approve of. I'm sure nobody on this line has that, but I always want to be upfront so that if you've got a side business you want to get out there, we don't touch any of that kind of stuff. Also, you should know that your citation will be active for about 30 days, depending on the outlet. Some will be on there forever, but you'll have the screenshots forever, and you will always have the right to say that you were cited on that outlet. Now, depending on the program you choose, I just want to be clear, it's not if you go for a citation, let's say on Fox or Forbes, it doesn't mean you're going to be on television, okay? That's a different program. We also have guaranteed TV, but we prefer to bring people through our digital networks first, like Forbes.com and Fortune.com and Fox and so forth, before we take you to TV, because then it's just so much easier to get you on television. You will be listed on the affiliate networks of the 4 major broadcasters. I want to be clear on that. So it's not you're going to be on Fox.com, but you may show up on like Chicago's Fox 30, Channel 32 website or something of that nature. Okay. Other outlets are permanent links and will stay there for longer. So for example, if we get you on something like Forbes or Fortune or Inc. or Entrepreneur, which we have special packages on, the link that is on that website that goes back to you stay there for a long time, and they're almost the equivalent. I've heard people say anywhere from 100 to 1,000 links from many small websites is much better to have powerful links from one website, which has huge credibility, which is great for your search engine rankings. Every private client gets a monthly report of their appearances with the links that they can use for research and marketing. So this is just an example of what a report might look like for you and some of the outlets we might get you listed on. We also work with over 300 other, we call them B outlets, but still have a lot of credibility. Wall Street Oasis, Silicon Investor, Boston.com, as well as moneyshow.com. Some of you may be familiar with marketplace.org as well. These are all sites that we can get you published to as part of our packages. Just so you know, this is online media. It is not print. You are not going to be in the magazine. It is on their website. And what's better for you is the magazine will take you 9 months to get into versus the website could take you 30 days to get into. Just as a point of comparison, if you were going to go and place an ad in Forbes, you would pay at the very least, if you were going to do one insertion, black and white, $111,000. Okay, trust me, we are nowhere near that pricing. The first 7 people who end up coming into the program after the complimentary strategy session, we're also going to gift our Instant Authority Blueprint. Now that is a full program that teaches you the step-by-step methods, if you've already been cited in the media, how to get the most out of it, including how to get a boost to your LinkedIn profile up to 319%, the status update strategy to boost your lead flow, how to use authority to increase closing ratio in sales presentations, how to get people to say wow to your business card and trust you, how to build conversion triggers right into your website so you get more leads, You'll learn our specialized re-release strategy, so you get 10 times more exposure. You'll learn how to use Google Plus to get more leads once you've been cited in the media. You'll learn the Facebook effect to 400% more engagement. And we're going to give you a template to the stealth email celebration strategy that generated 324 leads in 24 hours for one of our clients. We're also going to give you a brand new template that will help you craft your bio in such a way so when people introduce you, it will give you more prestige and more authority. And finally, you're going to learn how to get paid to present your product to your precise audience as part of this program. That's normally a $1,500 program, but will be included for the people who decide that they want to move ahead with one of our packages. We've also got about $800 worth of bonuses that we'll include as gifts if you decide to move ahead, which all include different copy and paste type templates that are very easy to use. All our services come with a 100% $100 guarantee, which means that we will get you on one of the outlets that we promise you, or we'll refund all your money plus $100 for your trouble. And this applies to all of our services. Here's how it works. We allow a maximum of 5 citations per business. So if you have 4 employees and you want to all get them cited, you can do that. Once you enroll, we'll ask you for a short quote on what you'd like the media to say about you. And then we'll work through our sources to get your name, your company, and your quote listed as a top recommended professional on the major media sites like CBS, NBC, Fox, and so forth. Once we receive word your quote has been placed, usually after about 3 business weeks, you'll get the screenshots of your quote on the major media. You'll also get the links where your quote was shared as proof of your media authority, which you can use on your website or anywhere else. Once we get the 4 major ones done, CBS, NBC, Fox, and NBC, then we're going to move you on to the next group, which is Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, and Huffington Post. This is an example of the screenshots that you're going to see. You see there, these are the affiliate networks, right? Fox 5 Vegas, News Channel 10, ABC 12. It'll be something of that nature. Just so you know, we cannot pick the city where it will show up. So if you say, look, it's got to be in Kansas on Channel 12, whatever it is, we don't guarantee that. For the first 5, we're going to do a really cool fast mover bonus. We will also get you cited on the Miami Herald and the Boston Globe, or, which is a $500 value, you could get my top media contact list of reporters from the New York Times, Bloomberg, Kiplinger's, and 425 other outlets with their direct line, their Twitter handle, and their email address. Took me 10 years to build this. I'll give it to you as a gift. Or I taught a course on how to build a 20,000 member LinkedIn power group in your niche and outsource the entire process right in the insurance and financial services niche, valued at $2,000. You could choose that. Or we can give you a beautiful commemorative plaque that you can hang in your office. Exactly what you see on the screen there. So if you choose one of those, if you're one of the first 5, you can tell us which one you'd prefer and we'd give it to you. Now here's what comes next. Once we get you cited on the media, you can use this in your email signature, on your LinkedIn profile, in your brochure, your business cards, your presentations. Your audience will see that the media takes notice of you, and instantly you become more believable, more trustworthy, and therefore more eager to turn to for advice, for speaking if you enjoy that, and consulting. You'll begin testing new ways to convert your traffic to current leads. You'll get celebrity and an insider status into your audience's eyes that you can turn off and on at will. And you'll also have the satisfaction of knowing that your company is miles ahead of any other competitor. This really allows you to have every dollar you spend in advertising more effective, because you know now that you can use the authority symbols, you're going to get a greater return. And it's kind of cool to think about it, right? If you step back for a moment and just think, how do you think your clients or your prospects are going to view you now that you've been featured on Forbes, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur, NBC? Who becomes the more believable advisor? Well, of course, you do. Once you join, we also give you access to our private client membership, where you get access to our other guaranteed media services, which include television, So we've gotten people onto Dr. Phil, Oprah, Good Morning America, Ellen, Rachel Ray, Bloomberg, Conan, Late Night, local news, regional news, and as well as several major magazines that are published into the millions every week. So just a quick recap. We have hundreds of people who are invited to this call today. The first 7 will get the choice of those gifts. There's a maximum of 5 per company. Packages start at $597. The way to do this is to go here, BIT. I'll just exit out of my screen right here, show you how this works. You're going to put this in the browser. It's going to take you to this form. And you see this, it's a 100% refundable media strategy session deposit. The only reason we have a $100 fee here is this is refundable, by the way, but it's to make sure we're only working with serious people. Frankly, we run a boutique company. I don't have 1,000 people working for me. In fact, I have 4, and we don't really need to work with everybody. So if $100 to investigate whether this is right for you is too much, this is probably not a good fit. No harm, no foul. I wish you the best, and you should probably just try the media hacks. But if you're willing to just put a deposit down, and that's really to make sure you show up. I'm not here to make $100 off of 50 people today. That's really not important and really doesn't make a difference in our revenue line. But it's to make sure you show up. And once you show up, we'll just give you your $100 back. It's just to make sure you show up. You're going to hit pay with credit card, and then you're going to fill in your information here. Here's your billing information. And then down here, you're going to put whatever credit card you want to place the deposit, and then you'll hit place order. Once you're done, it's going to bring you to a calendar. And once you get to that calendar, you're just going to book a time for yourself, and you will get a call from one of my media strategy session experts who will have a conversation with you, discuss the packages from our basic package all the way to our more advanced packages. And if one of those is a good fit for you, we'll make an offer right on the call. We can proceed. And if not, we'll say thank you. Thanks for taking a look at it, and then give you your money back. So that's really how that process works. I'm going to paste that in the chat box right now. And there you go. So you should see that in the chat box right now. bit.ly/AGA media session deposit. Sorry for the long, weird link. That's just the best we could do for now. But go ahead and you can just click there and then book your call. I'm going to open up the question box right now while we have a few minutes. Looks like we got a lot of people signing up. Again, if you're one of the first 7, you get the choice of the 3 gifts. And our packages start at $597. So let me jump to the question box and see what questions we might have. I'm going to scroll all the way to the top just to see what questions we started off as. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Thomas asked a question here. What's the bottom line and how much do you pay? 10,000 yearly, 20,000 yearly? What guarantees on appointments or traffic? Great question, Thomas. So, Thomas, we don't provide any guarantees of leads or traffic or anything like that with this program. Remember, this is not a traffic program. It's not a lead program. It's really about elevating the way you're currently perceived to one of a preeminent advisor as opposed to just an advisor that looks like everybody else. And if that's valuable for you, then I'd suggest you set up a strategy call so that we can see if that's a good fit for you. Okay, somebody posted whether we do any adult magazines. The answer is no. Psychology Today magazine. Yes, that would be a great magazine to get into. That would be a different program, but I'd recommend that you focus on getting onto the major media first. It's faster and easier, and then we could use that to leverage to get you on other magazines. Paul, I was on PBS years ago as a scientist. How gray area is that to use in my financial business? Paul, that is amazing. PBS attracts a very unique type of person and a specific demographic. People who are typically into nature, the outdoors, community work, very thoughtful programming. If that's your core audience, why not say that you were on PBS? I would use that like all over the place, right? And when people ask you, say, "Oh, well, funny you should ask. I was on as a scientist back then, but since then I've made a transition to so and so, right? To financial services or retirement planning." That's amazing, Paul. You should definitely use that. Here's a good one. Paul's asking, what about Amazon books as an authority symbol? Paul, those are great. And there's even programs out there that will help you get to bestseller status, because I would prefer, instead of just saying, I have a book on Amazon, which is kind of like, okay, there's 50 million books for 99 cents on Amazon. I would recommend you get a small amount of books printed, and maybe take a couple of pictures with you holding the book, because that looks more authoritative. You can do that at createspace.com. But if you get your book as an Amazon bestseller, that's even better, because now you're a best-selling author. Peter, how do your clients deal with compliance issues when it comes to using the content? Great question, Peter. So we've done about 300 advisors where we've written full articles that have been compliant friendly. So the way that we work with that is, depending on the program, if we get you quoted, we will have you submit the quote to your compliance department ahead of time, and then they can approve it. If it's an article, we can do it the same way, where we'll give you the article that we'll write for you after we do an interview. So we'll call, one of our published reporters will call you, we do an interview over the phone, ask you some questions, and then we'll write an entire article for you. And then once you've approved the final article, which may be a couple of times back and forth, you can send that back to compliance, and then if they have any changes, we'll make those changes. But most of the people we get for our full article package, we don't have any problems with, but that's a great question. Bill, if I already purchased a package last year, can I get credit to get other packages? Well, good question, Bill. And by the way, thanks so much for coming on the call again, and we appreciate having you as a client and being out here. I'm sure there's something we could do for you, Bill. It would depend on what package you're looking at, but I'm sure there's some. I would love to do something for you. So just schedule a call and then handle it with Troy, who'll probably be handling the calls from today's webinar, and then we can go from there. Peters has another question. Is it 5 total citations or 5 per outlet? And do you get on multiple outlets? All right. So when I say it's a maximum of 5 citations per office, I mean that it's 5 different people max per company. Okay. So for example, Peter, I could get you on ABC, Fox, Entrepreneur, Forbes, Money Show, 300 other outlets, but you're one person. Then we can do Mary, who works in your office, or Peter, who works in your office, and we can do the same for them. Okay, one person can get cited over 300 times, and one of our packages actually has that. So you can talk to our rep when you get on the phone with him. And the next part of your question was, do you get a multiple outlet? So hopefully I answered that. Yes, you do. Great, folks. Well, listen, it's been such a joy to be on the call with you today, and what a great audience, amazing feedback you've all been providing, and I really appreciate the participation. I want to give a shout out to those who have already booked a place to have a strategy session. Welcome. We really look forward to serving you at the highest level. And again, want to give a sincere thank you to the team at InsuranceWebx and Elite Advisory Group for sponsoring this class and making this available to you. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you out there, and thanks for being part of this program. Be well. Have a great rest of your day.